The year is 1299. India stands at a crossroads, its fate hanging in the balance as the world beyond its borders grows ever more turbulent. In northern India, the Delhi Sultanate, ruled by Sultan Alauddin Khalji, stands as a beacon of wealth, culture, and formidable power. Its bustling markets, grand mosques, and mighty fortifications are the envy of neighboring lands. But beyond the formidable barrier of the Hindu Kush Mountains, a new and terrifying threat rises: the Mongol horde, led by the ambitious Duwa of the Chagatai Khanate. Their reputation for conquest precedes them, casting a long shadow over the subcontinent. The Mongols have swept across the vastness of Asia, leaving devastation, fear, and smoldering ruins in their wake. Entire cities have fallen, and their name alone is enough to strike terror into the hearts of all who hear it. Now, their relentless gaze is fixed on India. The Mongol army, hardened by years of conquest, gathers at the edge of the mountains, preparing to descend upon the fertile plains below. For the people of Delhi, rumors of Mongol brutality spread like wildfire. Stories of massacres and destruction fill the air, and a sense of dread settles over the city. Families huddle behind thick walls, praying for deliverance. The question is not if, but when, the storm will break. Dark clouds gather on the horizon, both literal and metaphorical, as the city braces for the coming tempest. Sultan Alauddin Khalji, renowned for his iron will and strategic brilliance, refuses to wait for fate to decide his kingdom's destiny. He knows that hesitation could mean disaster. He orders his armies to prepare, forging weapons and training soldiers for a confrontation that will decide the fate of millions. The city becomes a hive of activity, every citizen playing a part in the defense. The Mongols see India as a treasure to be plundered, their army advancing in overwhelming numbers, driven by dreams of conquest and riches beyond imagination. As the year progresses, whispers become warnings: the Mongols are coming. Messengers race between villages, and city guards stand watchful through sleepless nights. The Sultanate's survival will depend on more than just swords and shields. It will require cunning, sacrifice, and unbreakable resolve. Every decision could tip the scales between survival and annihilation. The land holds its breath, awaiting the thunder of hooves and the clash of empires. The tension is palpable, as if the earth itself senses the coming storm. The stage is set for a clash that will shape not only the destiny of Delhi, but the course of history itself. The world watches, knowing that what happens here will echo for generations. The great test is about to begin. In the gathering dawn, two mighty forces prepare to collide, and the fate of an empire hangs in the balance. The Mongol army was a force of nature, swift, disciplined, and terrifying. Their cavalry, masters of the composite bow, could strike and vanish before enemies could react. Mongol tactics, feigned retreats, flanking maneuvers, and psychological warfare crushed kingdoms from China to Persia. Their army moved in precise units, communicating with flags and horns, acting as one deadly swarm. They lived off the land, taking what they needed from conquered villages. Their reputation for total destruction made cities surrender without a fight. When news of their approach reached Delhi, dread swept the land. But their greatest strength, their reliance on local resources, would soon become their undoing. The unstoppable force was about to meet an immovable object. Sultan Alauddin Khalji knew he couldn't defeat the Mongols on open ground. Instead, he turned India itself into a weapon. He ordered a scorched earth policy, villages evacuated, crops burned, wells poisoned, and livestock moved to safety. The countryside became a wasteland, no food, no water, nothing for the invaders. The Mongols, expecting plenty, found only ash and emptiness. The Sultan's sacrifice was immense, but his resolve was absolute. The people suffered, but they understood. Survival demanded everything. The Mongol army, used to living off the land, now marched into a trap. Their greatest advantage was slipping away before the first arrow was fired. The battle had begun long before swords were drawn. The Mongol war machine ran on grass and water, fuel for their horses, the heart of their army. But the Sultan's scorched earth tactics left nothing but ruin. Horses weakened, soldiers grew desperate, and morale crumbled. Hunger and thirst became the Mongols' fiercest enemies. Meanwhile, Alauddin's forces were well supplied, safe behind fortified walls. He had stockpiled food and water, waiting for the right moment to strike. The Mongols, forced to push forward, were funneled toward Delhi, right into the Sultan's chosen battleground. Their legendary speed and mobility were gone. The war of attrition was working. The invaders were being broken without a major battle. The Sultan's patience and planning were paying off. The final confrontation was inevitable. As the Mongols neared Delhi, they faced a new terror, the Sultanate's armored war elephants. Towering, armored, and unstoppable, these beasts were living fortresses. Mongol horses panicked at the sight and sound of elephants, shattering their formations. The elephants, with archers and spearmen atop, became the anchor of Delhi's defense. Trained to charge and crush, some even bore steel blades on their tusks. The Mongols, masters of cavalry, had no answer for these giants. The Sultan's ultimate weapon gave his soldiers hope, and the enemy nightmares. The stage was set for a battle unlike any the Mongols had fought before. The decisive battle unfolded near Kili, just outside the ancient city of Delhi, where two mighty empires clashed in a struggle that would echo through history. The Mongols, exhausted from their long march and desperate for victory, launched a furious assault, their horsemen thundering across the dusty plain in a final bid to break the defenders. The Delhi army, well-fed, disciplined, and resolute, stood firm behind their massive war elephants. These armored giants formed an unbreakable wall, inspiring courage among the Sultanate's soldiers. General Zafar Khan, renowned for his daring, led a bold cavalry charge, smashing into the Mongol flank with fearless determination, hoping to turn the tide of battle. The Mongols, masters of battlefield deception, feigned a retreat, a classic trap that had ensnared many foes before. Zafar Khan, seeking glory and perhaps underestimating his enemy, pursued the retreating Mongols and was quickly surrounded by their cunning maneuver. His force fought bravely in a desperate last stand, but was wiped out. Yet their sacrifice cost the Mongols dearly in both time and men, slowing their momentum. The main Delhi army, anchored by their formidable elephants, held its ground with unwavering resolve, refusing to yield an inch. The Mongols hurled themselves at the line again and again, but failed to break through. As the day wore on, exhaustion and frustration set in, and their strength began to wane. Night finally fell over the bloodied field. The Mongols, battered, disorganized, and demoralized, began a hasty retreat under the cover of darkness, abandoning their hopes of conquest. The Sultanate had survived the storm, its warriors battered but unbroken, their banners still flying proudly over the field. The Mongol myth of invincibility was shattered on the plains of Kili, their weapons and pride left behind. Delhi's resilience and unity had turned the tide, proving that even the fiercest invaders could be repelled by determined defenders. The invaders limped home, defeated and diminished, while Delhi stood victorious, its people forever changed by the day when Titans met. The victory at Kili was not simply a matter of brute force or overwhelming numbers. It was a triumph of strategy, careful planning, and the ability to outthink a formidable enemy. Sultan Alauddin Khalji recognized the Mongols' reliance on local resources for their massive armies. He turned what the invaders saw as their greatest advantage into a devastating weakness, using the land itself as a weapon against them. His scorched earth policy, though harsh and costly for his own people, was the key to survival. By denying the Mongols food and supplies, he forced them into desperation and confusion. Preparation and foresight shaped the battlefield long before swords clashed. Every defense was planned, every resource counted, and every move anticipated. The Sultan used his unique strengths, war elephants that struck fear into the enemy, fortified cities that withstood siege, and a well-organized supply network to outthink and outlast his enemy. The Mongols, unprepared for a foe who refused to fight on their terms and who changed the rules of engagement, faltered in the face of such unexpected resistance. The lesson is clear. Victory goes to those who adapt, prepare, and use their resources wisely, turning adversity into opportunity. The Sultanate's resilience and willingness to endure hardship, along with the sacrifices of its people, ensured its survival against overwhelming odds. Even the mightiest invaders can be defeated by intelligence, determination, and the courage to make difficult choices in the face of danger. The story of Kili endures as a powerful testament to strategic brilliance, reminding us that true victory is forged not just in battle, but in the minds of those who lead. The lessons of Kili echo today. In business, politics, or personal life, success often comes from preparation and understanding your opponent's weaknesses. Modern, scorched earth might mean disrupting a rival's supply chain or outmaneuvering them with strategy. Like the Sultan, we must prepare, adapt, and sometimes make hard sacrifices for long-term victory. Challenges will always rise, but intelligence and resilience can overcome even the greatest threats. The world remains unpredictable, but history's wisdom guides us. Survival is a science, victory is a strategy. The best defense is always a brilliant plan.